It's come to my attention, or more specifically, it came to my attention about a year ago, that I sent a bunch of people to the website Goatlings with fun posting videos without actually telling them what it's about. I started playing Goatlings on January 22nd, 2014, when I was house-sitting and babysitting a dog with nothing on me but a half-broken laptop running Ubuntu. Desperate for literally anything to do, me and 20 of my closest friends, a bunch of angry people I met on 4chan, and also Copper, started playing the newly reopened website. That said, I think I've been kind of evil on the website since I stepped foot in, because I bought up tons and tons of auctions for rare items, mass-purchased underpriced items just to sell them, and generally put a decade of prior Neopets use to infest my entire body. I mean, that said, I was nowhere near on the level of various Goatling superstars who were doing the same thing at the time, who all eventually stopped playing. Why didn't I stop playing? Why am I still playing this game? Anyways, what is the Goaltings of Goatlings? Oh my god, that sounds terrible. It looked so much better written down. The goal of Goatlings is to get the goats and items you think look nice and put them on your page for other people to look at. Well, to be honest with you, there is no goal. It's like Neopets. Goatlings is an economy-based pet game with no rules. Actually, there's a lot of rules. I keep breaking them. I never reread them after joining in 2014. Crap. Help somebody, I'm going to get banned from Goatling. But as to how you play, there aren't any rules. As long as you're not abusing the site with some sort of tool, you can pretty much do whatever you'd like. But Goatlings is a pretty small site. It mirrors an old Neopets experience, and while it's missing a whole bunch of delicious gambling that Neopets has, Goatlings, please let me gamble. Install some wheels. Where's Diceroo? It's still got the same feeling when you're being as capitalist as physically possible. Alright, so section 1, goats. Goatlings are the only pet that you can get on Goatlings. Initially it was planned for there to be different goat poses, but it seems like that's been scrapped. But the good thing about having only one type of pet on your pet site is that any pet can be any quote-unquote color that you'd like. When you make your goat, their only permanent element is going to be the number in their URL and their birthday. You can change their name, appearance, gender, or description at any time you want. Although you do need to pay an incredibly small amount of sugar stars to change the name, and even if you don't have those sugar stars, if I remember correctly, you will get negative that amount of sugar stars. Which is funny, so I'm gonna check that as soon as I'm editing this video. So as far as the value of the physical goat without its name, it's really just up to their number or if their birthday has some sort of value. Goats with 4 or less numbers in their URL, or a goat born at a certain time. I've got a goat born on leap year. I'm sure somebody finds that impressive. That said, almost nobody cares about that sort of thing. The market for unique goat names barely exists as well. Anybody who has a short, valuable, usable goat name has pretty much stopped playing Goatlings or isn't selling their names, and the people who are selling their names are trying to sell things that wouldn't even pass as a good name on Neopets. When you go into the adoption center, it looks like this. There are never any goats to rehome because you can have 10 goats, or if you're rich, unlimited goats, and the ability to just rename them and reuse them for new purposes really makes Goatlings extremely friendly to goat recycling. The goat you get will be gray, she will look just like this, and you could get 10 of them with names you like immediately because it costs nothing to be a pet owner. Goatlings never look sad like Neopets do, and nobody can tell that you've never fed her once in your entire life. How do you take care of a goatling? You don't. You don't need to. The only situation in which taking care of your new pet is necessary is if you're looking to make them fight, in which case they'll lose 1 point of hunger and 1 point of mood for every innocent creature you choose to make them destroy. I'll go into that later. Goatlings are only immortal as long as they're pacifists. Goatlings also have stats for fighting, along with an intelligence stat, which is 100% wholly useless, just like real intelligence, although there is a smartest Goatling stat board. You can improve your Goatling stats by either leveling them up or giving in to the Goat Princess's money laundering business. There used to be some magic rocks that you could force feed to your Goatling to make them more powerful, but there was some sort of error and all rocks were banned from Goatlings forever. But the most important goat-related business is customization. Using appearance dolls, you can change your goats into colors that match the doll. You can also change up your goat's inventory or treasure, and it's like having a little custom gallery for every goat. I really like this feature, actually. You get 10 goats to start, 20 goats if you upgrade to a Crown account, and 1 more goat slot for every adoption ticket you use. Crown accounts and adoption tickets cost money, but it's easy enough to buy them from users eventually. Section 2. Games. Goatlings has games. Well, sort of. They're not going to be the kind of games you find on Neopets, or anything that takes any concentration or skill, but they're a little arcade section. They exist. They're sort of games. Two of the games are Gachapon machines. One costs a special currency called a goat token, and the other is free. 4 are the lottery. I've never won this, that said I've never tried. 2 are click for some money, and then there's a number guessing game, a click to fish game, and a game where you swap items with the last user who played the game called Magic Hat. There's the Wishing Well, which is not a game, but instead a suggestion box for items you want to see on Goatlings. There's the Referral Contest, my favorite game, which I play while sleeping, and it can sometimes give you much less money than winning any of the other games. For context, this is about half as much as you need to buy an appearance doll. This is probably the hardest game to win, and it's only held once a month. So the Referral Contest is kind of pointless, and its prizes just aren't keeping up with how the website is today, so it's not really worth it whatsoever. I think Goatlings would be better off if they just had a referral shop where you got a point for every person you referred, and then you could spend your points at the shop, but I might just be saying that because I have a lot of referrals. So as far as games that can actually kind of be considered games go, this leaves Higher or Lower, Triple Scoop, and Flutter Snap. Higher or Lower is a simple logical guessing game, Triple Scoop is gambling, and Flutter Snap is a 1 out of 3 chance to get 1,000 sugar stars, 50 times an hour. Basically, when you start out, you want to play all of these as much as possible. While the Gachapon machine isn't about to give you anything useful, all of the other things are going to give you either sugar stars or have a chance of giving you something good. The sugar star mine is a little overflowing. Even though it was actually pretty cleared out for a very, very long time, people have seemed to stop coming, so the page loading very nearly tries to crash your browser. Drop yourself into the infinite sugar star mine and have a terrible time. Please clear it out. Section 3. Battling. To make your goat fight, you must first feed them and play with them. These sorts of items are easy to buy and cost about nothing if you have been playing the games. You can already probably also use items from your new B package to do this, I think. Actually, I don't remember what's in the new B package. It didn't exist when I was born. Then you buy any given offensive equipment item and give it to your goat. All of it is fine, don't worry about the defense items because they're worthless, just completely worthless. They take a turn to use, and then they don't actually fully defend you. There are 3 different places to fight your Goatling to the death. One is the Battle Center. Everything here is going to be worth fighting because they drop exclusive retiring items along with goat tokens for the token machine. Then there's the Training Center, which you are really only going to use if you're going to get your Goatling on the top stats scoreboard. And the third is the Explore area, which costs 1,000 sugar stars to enter, but usually gives you a profit if you fight everything you find there. Fighting is pretty straightforward, you just need to remember to click the message that tells you to end the battle at the end. You should also keep in mind that your HP will go down by 1 with every turn you fight, and so will your pet's mood and hunger every battle you fight, which after a short while will be once per battle, all of that, because battles will end really quickly and become just a button click. And if you continue to train your Goatling properly, you're not going to have to buy weapons anymore either unless you're really, really grinding on one enemy, because as you fight the enemies, their HP goes up just a little bit every new time you fight them. If you need to heal your Goatling, you can either buy a potion or you can spend 1,000 sugar stars over at the Wishing Well. That's usually what I do, but if you're just starting out, you might need to pinch pennies. Section 4. Avatar. You get a doll to dress up to represent you. You'll get clothes for it by breathing, and if breathing is too hard, you can buy all sorts of ridiculously dirt cheap clothing items in the shops. When I started, everyone had the same face and tracksuit on, but now there's a large selection. It's nice. To wear clothes, go to your inventory and just click Add to Closet, then tap the guy in the corner and mess around with it. That's it, really. Section 5. Appearance dolls. Appearance dolls are the most important thing on Goatlings. They're the type of item that costs the most money and is the type of item that is going to sell the best. They're how you change your goat's appearance, as previously mentioned, so they're very important to the secret goal of Goatlings, showing off. ADs come in 2 groups, those that retire and those that don't. ADs that don't retire are much less valuable. A majority of all the ADs on the website are in the shop. They are going to cost you 80k each, and no shop AD is rarer than the others. They're all on the same level. Temporarily, new stuff is going to sell for a little more, but you're going to want to catch it and resell it quickly. You can also get non-retiring ADs from the cash shop for the equivalent of about $2 each, and the non-retiring ones that you find there are mostly goats modeled after the shopkeepers. And then there are Explore Area ADs. These are Goatlings appearance dolls that you get from beating up wild Goatlings in the wilderness. They can sell anywhere from 20k to 150k depending on the doll, but in the last Explore area you have a chance of getting rare appearance dolls or rads, which are shiny, alternate colored ones. They can sell for $1 million or $2 million depending on the doll, so that's pretty fun. You can also get non-retiring ADs from the token game, which vary wildly in worth. There are different ones in stock depending on the season, and items that are 3 years old or older will be sold in the seasonal antique shop. Once these ADs retire, they become much less valuable, so it's not really good to hold on to them for longer than 3 years. I used to sell fall ADs in the spring and winter ADs in the summer, but I'm not really sure if that's still a viable tactic. We'll see. The fishing game has its own ADs, 4 of them. They're worth a couple million to several million depending on which one, and Fluttersnap has an AD too. It's worth what you can pawn it for. Then there's a few on the side. There's the Midnight Moon AD, which is only available through random event, and it's unfortunately the only Goatling that comes from one. I really would like it if we just had an update where there were just a whole bunch you could get from random event, but I think that would just make a bunch of people refresh the site, and that might not be good for the servers, so maybe not. The Rockabilly and the Velvet Rose ADs come exclusively from the Saturday night auctions, while the Dawn Flight, Dusk Flight, and Twilight Flight all come from donating to the creator's Patreon. I think that's all of the categories, and I might have missed something, but moving on. There's also my favorite, retiring ADs, which are much more valuable and much more fun, and you can get them from either fighting seasonal baddies in the battle center or buying them from the cash shop. Just generally, they're more fun to have on your goats, more fun to show off, and more valuable than the other ones, so I prefer them. Every month, there's a new set of retiring items, which usually include an AD and some clothing items and some aesthetic items. And you can fight for these in the Battle Center. Doing this made me rich when I first started playing, so I'm eternally grateful. There's a pretty big backlog of items that retired, but if you find one that you want that came out after 2014, you probably won't have too much trouble finding and saving up for it. There are a few that were released when the site initially came out in 2012, and they're worth hundreds of millions each. There's also the Betaling, which was given out to the original beta testers of the game, and my advice for this AD is that if you have it, you send it to User Moon, thanks. And now for my final section, money. To get loads and loads of money, harvest and save items that are going to retire from the monthly baddies to sell later. You can also sell immediately things that you get from the Goat Token game and the Explore area fights, although they might not sell right away. Most of the time, selling your Goat tokens directly will make more money than using them, but what's the fun in that? Play Fluttersnap as often as physically possible, along with the games that just hand over sugar stars, and save all of it, and once you have a couple million, you'll notice that your bank interest is your best friend. Collect your interest every day, and it adds up. And if you have massive amounts of money on other pet sites, you can very easily trade that for Goatlings cash, and then collect interest on it. And that about sums it up. I've got a link to Goatlings in the description, and my Goatlings account is Moon, and I will never stop. Also, the Rainling is the best goat. And also the Lily of the Valley goat.